Shalom. Like to say all praises to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahshai. Double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to the brothers out there doing the work in truth and sincerity. Today's lesson, I'm going into discovery that was found in in Egypt today. To surround right now, there was a discovery in Egypt of a statue believed to be Ramses II, and this is all just a spiritual time, because today is March 10th, 2017, which tomorrow is Saturday, right? Which would make it the Passover, March 11th. Tomorrow is the Passover, and this discovery comes at a great time, man. So it's a spiritual time where the Most High made this discovery to be found. Because how, if you look into ancient Egypt, how was ancient Egypt destroyed? By the hand of the Lord during the Passover or the Exodus, man. Which this is all gonna repeat itself again in modern day Egypt, which America is modern day Egypt. All right, because this is where we've been in bondage. This is our longest captivity, apart from our first captivity as a nation under Egypt. That was our second longest captivity. That was 400 years. We've been in captivity over 400 years, man. Over 400 years, and the Most High is getting ready. He's getting ready to deliver us from captivity. So I'm gonna read this. I'm gonna go into this article. It says this is March 10th. It was published today. It was discovered today. It was published today. Today is March 10th, 2017. It says, archaeologists from Egypt and Germany have discovered the remains of an ancient Egyptian statue they believe could depict one of history's most famous rulers. The likeness of what may be Pharaoh Ramses II was found submerged in groundwater in a Cairo slum. We found the bust of the statue and the lower part of the head, and now we removed the head and we found the crown and the ear and a fragment of the right eye. Khalid al-Anai, Egypt's antiquities minister, told Reuters the 26-foot statue is made up of quartz and could be up to 3,000 years old. I'm just going to go to the point. So here's the discovery, man. And how was Ramses the Great destroyed, man? By the hand of the Lord, man. The Most High brought plagues and wonders upon Egypt, upon ancient Egypt. And he's getting ready to do the same, man. Alright, today's the eve prior to the Passover. So, tonight or tomorrow night, it's gonna be some serious curses are going to go up, man. Cause we're gonna pray and we're gonna put up curses upon this world, man, and upon America, Egypt, everywhere where we're in captivity, man. The Most High is gonna bring judgment to pass, man. And I pray every year, every time we have a high holy day, the Most High bring judgment to pass. But I pray for this one, he brings some serious judgment upon the earth, man. It says Ramses II is one of ancient Slakia. Ramses II is one of the ancient world's most famous leaders. He ruled Egypt from 1279 to 1213 before Christ, making his 60-year-long rule one of the longest in ancient Egypt. His military exploits expanded Egypt's reach as far as modern Syria and as far as modern Sudan. The growth and prosperity seen in Egypt at the time earned him the title Ramses the Great. It said excavation will continue in Cairo, and if the remaining pieces can restore the statue, it will be erected at the Grand Egyptian Museum, which is set to open in 2018. And it says, just gonna go to the main point. It is believed Ramses II may have been the pharaoh from the biblical book of the Exodus, from whom Moses demanded the release of his people. So all this is a sign, man, where you guys are discovering this around the time of our Passover, man. You know that the Most High is showing you your end, man. He's showing you certain little things, and it's bugging you elites out, man. It's bugging out your counselors, your wise men, your witches and all that, your witches and warlocks. They don't know what to do right now. Because there's all kind of signs being showed in the earth. You guys don't know what the hell to do, man. I'm gonna get Blue Letter Bible. Slakia. Go on Blue Letter. I'll get a couple scriptures and close up. This is the book of Exodus, chapter 1, verse 1. Now these are the names of the children of Israel which came into Egypt. Every man and his household came with Jacob: Reuben, Simeon, Levi, and Judah, Issachar and Zebulun and Benjamin, Dan and Naphtali, Gad and Asher. And the souls that came up out of the loins of Jacob were 70 souls, for Joseph was in Egypt already. Because when you read the book of Genesis, Joseph was made great in Egypt. He was made a governor. So he was he was like second to the pharaoh of that time. But then it says that there came another pharaoh which knew not Joseph. It says, and Joseph died, and all his brethren, and all that generation, and the children of Israel were fruitful, and increased abundantly, and multiplied, and waxed exceedingly mighty, and waxed exceeding mighty, and the land was filled with them. Now there arose up a new king over Egypt, which knew not Joseph, and he said unto his people, Behold, the people of the children of Israel are more and mightier than we. Come on, let us deal wisely with them, lest they multiply, and it come to pass that when there falleth out any war, they join also unto our enemies and fight against us, and so get them up out of the land. Yeah, 'cause our people were very great. Our people had a vast amount of wealth, and we're having a lot of influence in Egypt, and we were doing good amongst ourselves. And we were multiplying, and these Hamites, they got jealous, man, and they were scared because they didn't want us to take over the whole of Egypt, and to put them in subjection. So Pharaoh, the new Pharaoh that arose, which was Ramses II, or the Great, he didn't have any mercy on the Israelites, man. He went to war with us, because they knew that there was a great person coming to free us eventually. When you read the whole book, when you read the Exodus or whatever, it's gonna explain. When you read this chapter and a couple of the chapters in, it says, when there falleth out any war, they join also unto our enemies and fight against us, and so get them out of the land. Therefore they did set over them taskmasters to afflict them with their burdens, and they built for Pharaoh treasure cities, Pithom and Ramses. But the more they afflicted them, the more they multiplied and grew. And it's the same thing, because how was America established? Off of slavery, and having taskmasters over us, man. It's the same thing today, on the job. You have to go to jobs, and you know if you don't have your own businesses, if you don't have your own business, you're working for Esau or the other nations, and you have a boss, you have a supervisor, and all that shit. You can't do what the hell you want. You know, we're made subjects in this society. It says, but the more they afflicted them, the more they multiplied and grew, and they were grieved because of the children of Israel, and the Egyptians made the children of Israel to serve with rigor, and they made their lives bitter with hard bondage. And you look at that word. Look at America. It's the same thing, man. Our lives are bitter. The word America, it goes back to a man named Amerigo Vespucci, and when you look up that name, Amerigo, it means bitter. When you look up the etymology, so we're in the land of bitterness, man, of death. And the Most High is getting ready to free His elect. The Most High is getting ready to free His people, man. His elect, 144,000, and the rest of the nation's gonna come. The ones who die are gonna come back in the kingdom, man, in their right state. You could read this whole chapter. I'm gonna get I'm gonna get Deuteronomy 28. Because the Lord said that He said He'd bring us into Egypt again, and we walked out of Egypt. All right, Abraham walked down into Egypt. Jacob and his sons walked down into Egypt. All right, so this is because when you read Deuteronomy 28 and 68, it's gonna say, and the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships. So our people walked out of ancient Egypt, man. This is talking about over here in the Americas, because when you look at the relics in Washington, D.C., the Washington Monument, when you look at also on the dollar bill, it has the all-seeing eye of Horus, the pyramid, and they follow the elites of the society. They follow the ways of ancient Egypt, man. When you go into that whole Masonic doctrine and shit, they worship all those Egyptian gods and all that, Isis and Horus and all that shit. A whole bunch of stuff, man. A lot of symbols, what they use on advertisements or whether on their cars, has the sun, which the Egyptian worship the sun and all that. A lot of these big corporations, they have like pyramids as their logo, and with the sun and behind, all kind of shit, bugged out stuff, man. But these crackers, they don't have their own religion, so they worship the religions of the ancients, man. But one of their top religions that they worship is the Egyptian and Babylonian religions. It says, and the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again. All right, that thou shalt see it no more again is talking about our holy land, Israel. And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. Meaning no man will save you. Yeah. Says, and there you shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. So that's why we're still in this state, but the Most High is getting ready to deliver His people, man. Alright, let me get Jeremiah 16 and 11. This is just an impromptu. This is just an article I saw. I didn't see it on the internet. I actually saw it on the news. I saw on CP24 that about this whole discovery, man. So that's what motivated me to do this lesson. This is Jeremiah 16 and 11. Then shalt thou say unto them, because your fathers have forsaken me, saith the Lord, and have walked after other gods, and have served them, and have worshipped them, and have forsaken me, and have not kept my law. And ye have done worse than your fathers, for behold, ye walk every one after the imagination of his evil heart, that they may not hearken unto me. Therefore I will cast you out of this land into a land that ye know not, neither ye nor your fathers, and there ye shall serve other gods day and night, where I will not show you. And that's what happened to us now. That's why we're scattered all over the world, worshiping different gods, whether it's Caesar Borgia, which is which is the image what people worship as Jesus Christ, which is an actual man named Caesar Borgia, who was actual man, and that was a painting that his father Alexander VI of Rome he declared to be drawn, that his son be as the Son of God, so that they could deceive our people, and conquer our people on this side of the world, and then give us and then conquer our people who were over there in Europe, and then enslave them with this whole Christian religion, so-called Christian religion, what they established, whatever, showing that that the Lord's white and all that, and then also different religions across the world, where we dwell. Our people, they worship. Our people are into Islam, as well as some of them. Our people's also in the Philippines and all that shit. Our people scattered all over the world worshiping different gods, man. And also, that's why we had to go in captivity, because when we're in the land of Israel, we fell away from the law, man. Because the law was perfect. It was meant. Eventually, it was meant that that it was meant for us to go off. Because we're in this flesh. We couldn't keep the law perfect. And we were going completely off, man. Sacrificing unto idols in the land and shit. The Most High got tired of seeing that, man, and that's why we had to go into captivity. It says, therefore, behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that it shall no more be said, the Lord liveth, that brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt. But the Lord liveth, that brought up the children of Israel from the land of the north, and from all the lands whither he had driven them. So it says the land of the north. That's a prophecy, which is here in North America. Alright? And from all the lands whither he had driven them, because we're scattered in the four corners of the earth. And I will bring them again into their land that I gave unto their fathers. Let me get one more scripture. Isaiah 19:1. The burden of Egypt, behold, the Lord rideth upon a swift cloud. Alright? And that's talking about the chariots, man. That's talking about the so-called mothership, or the fathership, man. Which is gonna appear in the coming, man. The coming of the Lord, man. That's gonna be the ship where the Lord's gonna ride on and destroy this place, man. With his angels, man. Alright? And it shall come into Egypt, and the idols of Egypt shall be moved at his presence, and the heart of Egypt shall melt in the midst of it. And I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they shall fight every one against his brother, and every one against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom. And that's what's happening right now, man. You have Democrats, Republicans, you have KKK, all these white militias, and all that shit. You have these so-called gutter rats, these so-called Jews, so-called Jews. Yeah, so all you people are gonna fight. So all you Edomites are gonna fight against each other. You guys are gonna fight against each other, man. The Most High is gonna create confusion amongst you guys. The Russians, against America and all that shit. You guys are gonna fight against each other and destroy each other, man. It said, and the spirit of Egypt shall fail in the midst thereof, and I will destroy the counsel thereof, and they shall seek to the idols, and to the charmers, and to them that have familiar spirits, and to the wizards. And the Egyptians will I give over into the hand of a cruel lord, and a fierce king shall rule over them, saith the Lord of hosts. Who's that cruel lord, man? Yahweh Shai. Who you people ignorantly call Jesus Christ, which he's a black man. He's a so-called black man. He's coming to destroy this place, man. By force, and to set up a holy nation, man, a holy kingdom. All right, his elect of Israel, the 144,000, man. That's who the Lord came for. All right, and you so-called white people's rulership is gonna come to a halt, come to a complete halt. All right, so there's nothing that you could do. So even when you try and make your move and stuff, the scripture says, the servants of the Lord shall no more be pushed into a corner anymore, man. So even when you guys make your move, the Most High is gonna he's gonna lift up a standard against you guys, man. So there's nothing that you could do to stop this truth, man, from getting out there. Whether you shut down the internet or not, the elect's almost sealed. Or cause once the elect is sealed, this place is done, man. It said, and the waters shall fail from the sea, and the rivers shall be wasted and dried up, and they shall turn the rivers far away, and the brooks of the fen shall be emptied and dried up, and the reeds and the flax shall wither. The paper reeds by the brooks, by the mouth of the brooks, and everything that is sown by the brook shall wither, be driven away, and be no more. The fishers also shall mourn, and they that cast the angle into the brook shall lament, and they that spread nets upon the water shall languish. Moreover, they that work in fine flax, and they that weave network shall be confounded, and they shall be broken in the purposes thereof. All that make sluices and ponds for fish. Surely the princes of Zoan are fools. The counsel of the wise counselors of Pharaoh is become brutish. So yeah, that's talking about you elites, man. The elites. That's talking about your council, your witches. The council of like the 13 witch. I believe it's called the Council of 13 or whatever, where they have like 13 witches. Like who they counsel, who the elites go to for counsel. It says, how say ye unto Pharaoh, I am the son of the wise, the son of ancient kings? Where are they wise men? Let them tell thee now, and let them know what the Lord of hosts have proposed upon Egypt, man. So so the princes of Zoan are become fools, the princes of Naph are deceived. They also have seduced Egypt, even they that are the stay of the tribes thereof. The Lord have mingled perverse spirit in the midst thereof, and they have caused Egypt to err in every work, as a drunken man staggereth in his vomit. Neither shall there be anywhere for Egypt, which the head or the tail, branch or rush may do. In that day Egypt shall be like unto woman, and it shall be afraid, and fear, because of the shaking of the hand of the Lord of hosts, which he shaketh over it. And the land of Judah shall be a terror unto Egypt. So you hear that, man? The land of Judah shall be a terror unto Egypt, man. So yeah, there's gonna come a time, where the Most High is gonna raise up his men, man. Mainly his elect, and we're gonna be a terror unto you damn Edomites, man, in this modern day Egypt, man. And everyone that shall make mention thereof shall be afraid in himself, because of the counsel of the Lord of hosts. And how Esau knows? He's making all these movies and shows, like a good one is Luke Cage, Hancock, a whole bunch of shows where he's showing Jake with like spiritual power, or he's showing himself with spiritual power, man. All these shows that you're showing and stuff, where with people having supernatural power, that's not gonna happen. It's not gonna be you who's gonna have those powers, man. That's gonna come upon the Lord's elect, man. You know, that's gonna come upon the Lord's people, man. You know, all those supernatural powers, man. That's why you make these shows, cause you wish that you could have these powers, but you can't, man. Cause the Lord's not dealing with you guys, man. You guys are the damn devil. You guys have power like that on the left, you know, a few of you. But as a whole, the Most High is gonna raise up his men to have some real super power, man. You know, that power is gonna come from on high, man. So, you know, with that, I'd like to say all praises to Yahweh Shem Yashai, double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to the brothers out there doing the work in truth and in sincerity. And with that, I'd like to say Shalom and Kwam Yasha Allah. And, you know, death to Esau, death to the other nations, man. You know, Kwam Yasha Allah.